All right. Good morning, everyone. It says I'm live. Just kind of wanted to get on about a minute or so early just to make sure. See how everything's looking on Facebook. And yep, there I am. I'm live. Yay. Okay. So I am trying a new system this morning. It's called StreamYard, and so forgive me if things look a little weird. But hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy October. We're gonna do the 1, 2, 3, 4 pack, which is there's a 5 today because we're gonna do a card. Welcome to Happy World Card Making Day. So I'm really excited that we're gonna get a chance to do that. I don't see a lot of eyeballs coming on, so if you do pop on, say hello, let me know you're here. I'm not actually looking at Facebook, but I'm supposed to be able to see the comments, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, before we get into the card and the scrapbook pages this morning, I wanted to go over the new items. So we got the sneak peek for Monday. And do not shoot the messenger. Yeah, it's Christmas. The Christmas collection is coming out Monday. I do have to say it's a really cute collection. So, and there's some really nice little samples, and this is the advisor share page. You can see the coordinating cardstocks here, and this also coordinates well with the last couple of years of Christmas. So if you had a little bit left over, or you want to mix and match things, these are going to go together really, really nicely. So you can see here, we are going to have the buy it all bundle again, and there is going to be a golden ticket. Remember, I won the golden ticket once, so it's possible. So the bundle itself is going to have, now the album is not in the bundle. That album is really cute, isn't it? Look at those jingle bells. The album is not in the bundle, but the bundle is going to include the paper, the embellishments, the stickers, the laser cut, a set of cardstock. There are 3 punches in this collection: border maker cartridge, a standalone punch, and a border punch. I'm going to show you those in a little bit, and mat cards. And then, of course, the bonus, one of the bonuses, not only do you get a discount on the price, but you get a project guide, which is going to give you probably about half a dozen layouts to put together. Might even be one of the ones that you see here. When something sells out of that bundle, and my guess is it's going to be one of these punches, they'll switch over to the decorative bundle, which you don't get the playbook or the guidebook, and you don't get all the punches, but it will still be something. But again, there's an album coming out that matches. There's a better close-up of the papers, the mats, the stickers, the laser cut borders. I love this candle border. I'm looking forward to that one. We do have some embellishments. There's the project playbook. You can buy that playbook individually. So again, if you have other collections that you want to use it for, it's $5 for a playbook. I don't think you can buy it right away. It's after the bundle is, the buy it all bundle is done. But once that's done, you could buy that. Okay, here's the close-up look of our 3 punches. So here's our traditional border punch, which is ornaments. And these ornaments match a collection we had about 3 years ago. So again, you can mix and match things that you already own. The jingle bells, completely adorable. I don't know why it took so long for us to get these. I think they're wonderful. And then an angel chain border maker. And there is a sample that you'll probably see in one of the blogs where there's actually another circle behind the head, so you get that halo effect. I don't know what they used for that circle, but a very, very, very old chain, I think it was one of the original, was like a little circle burst. Would also look really nice behind them. So that is definitely a choice. And as they are continuing, we are going to discount some punches we've already had. So we have the Holly punch is going to be $12.50, half price on Monday, and the Poinsettia Edge BMC $10. So again, really, really interesting or useful connections. Project recipe. If you would like to make this layout, let me know. If you buy the bundle, I will send you the PDF for free. Some other things that are coming out. They're going to have a little holiday scissor set if you want a red and green. If you want to designate these specifically for cutting gift wrap or something like that, so you're not going to dull them before you cut your scrapbook paper. The December Days kit is coming back. This sold out really quickly last year. So get your hands on it if you are interested. This is pages of tags. Cut the tags apart and use them individually. Use them as strips. Use them as mats. Lots and lots of ideas there. And then there's a matching sticker pack with all the days. If you're doing a December daily album, you will have all your stickers for your pages. There are 2 new trimmer blades coming out. We have Rhythm, which is almost like a scallop blade, but you can see it's a little bit flatter up here. And then we have Twist, which is more of that uneven set of loops. So because those are coming out, there's going to be a new trimmer bundle pack, $115 for, what is that, 6, 8, 10 different blades. And that's a really good deal. So pick out what you want to spend $120 on, because Creative Memories is having a birthday next week. I don't remember how many years. I am so sorry. But if you spend $120, you are going to get this lovely challenge accepted deck. And they're saying this is deck number 1. So my guess is we're either going to see this yearly or we're going to see another one come out pretty soon. 52, just like a deck of cards, 52 cards divided into 4 different colors. So each color has a different inspiration. One might be to use a certain word in your layout. One might be to use particular colors. One might be, if you get to this QR code, there might be a sketch or some directions to follow to put that together. You will get these sleeves. These fit in your binder. If you got the binder that they had out that was all of the project recipes and sketches from the virtual crop, this is going to fit in there. And you can see this little purple thing in the back. That's the new tab for it. So it will, these will separate. Put them in with the, if you can see my arrow, you can put them in with the back side facing up. And then when you do the challenge, flip it over so that you have it completed. And of course, with that QR code, there is a way to post that to the virtual crop page so that you'd be able to share it with everyone. So that's what's new. And all right, we're going to stop that and come back to me. Hello again. And I'm sorry, I could not see anything. I don't see any comments that were missing. So, but when I'm sharing my screen like that, it doesn't let me see. So now we're going to move over to, I think what we're going to do is start with, there we go. Okay, we're going to stop that one. So we're going to move over to doing what we came here to do today. And I hope this is going to work because I have my camera up here. You can see it just kind of above me here. Hopefully this is going to work. First, I'm going to share with you the card that we're going to do because it is World Card Making Day. So we're going to want to make a card. All of these PDFs that I am popping up here, I will either put as a link or email to you upon request. I'm sorry, the PDFs I will email to you upon request. I don't think I can post PDFs to Facebook. If I can, I will post these. If not, I will email them to you. But in that case, I will put a link to the original blog post where Noreen Smith had posted the directions. And I will post the link because it's not really easy to get to her blog anymore because when she moved into a full-time job with Creative Memory, she kind of had to put a lot of her personal stuff behind her. So, but this is the card we are going to create. And it is her 1, 2, 3 for cards is one sentiment. And I'm sorry, I'm going to switch over to my, there we go. We're going to switch to the overhead, I think. I thought we were. There we go. Okay. So Hopefully now you are seeing my overhead. So we're going to do one sentiment. I have a nice little thankful. These, this collection that I'm using is Hello Autumn, which is a very old one, but I thought, well, we're in fall. Let's do something fall based. And I do love the colors of this. So there was a thankful sentiment left. 2 pieces of paper. We are going to trim these to the right size, and 3 embellishments. And happenstance, I had these 3. Let's see if I can get you in the camera that you can actually see it, because it's going to be too dark. And maybe you can see a little bit there. These cute little pumpkins. So 3 little pumpkins. We're going to cluster them, and lickety split. We're gonna put this together. So give me a second, because I cannot see the instructions as they are sitting there. So let me pull this up a minute. It's the one thing I forgot to print. Okay, so we need to trim our papers. This is actually a MAC card from the Hello Autumn. I still have that left. So we're going to trim this. You need 1 piece of paper, or 1 scrap of paper, I should say, that is going to be 3.5 by 4 3/4. So we're going to trim you to 3.5, 4 3/4, and then we are going to round this for funsies. So take your corner rounder and give it a little interesting pop there. Okay, and then the other strip needs to be 1.5 by 4 1/4, and just because it's long, we're going to start with the 4 1/4 by 1.5. Right? Yeah. And these go together really quickly. So I have my card base. You're going to start with the larger of the 2 pieces. These up here. Come back to my camera. There we are. Now I can see you. Hello. Okay, so coming back to the camera. So we're going to give a little bit of adhesive. And you know, when I do cards, because people are handling them, I like to put a little extra adhesive on. We're just going to center that on the page like this. Okay. And then this goes on the short side. Okay, so this is going to go across. Now I have a choice of colors, but I like that blue plaid. So we're going to go across and about, 2/3 of the way down. And that should fit edge to edge. If you have a traditional, what is this, 5.5? Yeah, 5.5 by 4 1/4, 5.5 by 4 1/4. So we have that 4 1/4 going straight across. And then we're going to have our sentiment. For this, I'm going to use a little repositionable. And that is already has a bit of white to it, so I don't need to put that on a separate piece of paper. And then 3 embellishments. We're just going to cluster these here at the edge, like so. Voila. There is my thankful card. And I could use this for Thanksgiving. I could use this as a thank you note. I probably cut it. I'm just going to trim this off a little bit. So now it lays right against the edge. But that's it. 1, 2, 3. Card is done. Imagine doing all of your Christmas cards in just a few minutes. That took us, maybe 2 minutes? And part of that was cutting. I could have had that pre-cut. So use your scraps. Get your cards done. Happy World Card Making Day. All right. Let's get into the layouts. I have some really nice layouts for you today. I went back and went to Noreen's blog and found pretty much all the old 1, 2, 3s that I can. So these are public domain. They're on her blog. Again, I will link them. I do not claim ownership or creativity. I'm just showing you how I'm putting them together. So the first one, we're going to go to the Wayback Machine. February 2013 is the first sketch we are going to put together. Now, in the first few months that she was doing this and she was posting on her blog, she had each individual item posted, but she didn't have it on a layout. And for those of you who've been doing this with me for a while, you know that she would eventually develop a piece of paper with all the instructions and some ideas on it. And then you would have this to print. So what I did is I tried to emulate what she did. So I have the black and white sketch, I have the cutting guide, I have the sample layout that she made, and then I have a box where I have the directions listed. So that is what I put together, and that's what I'm claiming as Dr. Scrapbook's version. So, but I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to link to you the original that you can see that. And I'm hopeful that you can see the images there. I think they're a little bit on the small side, but I did what I could. So for this sketch, we are going back into, well, time in a couple of ways. I am 4 years behind on my scrapbooking. So we're going 4 years back. November 2021, my husband and I celebrated our 25th anniversary, which was, we got married in May. But remember, it's 2021, COVID. May of 2021, huge COVID outbreak, and no one was going anywhere. So we were not having a party. So we delayed about 6 months. So I have some photos here, and I will show you how that gets laid out a little bit later. But the concept of these photos is we are opening a time capsule. I don't know if you can see the little tin there. So we had a time capsule from when we got married 25 years before, and we were opening it at the party, and it actually was a lot of fun. So this is pictures of us opening that. So I'm going to set them aside just for now so I can show you what we're doing. Went into some scraps because I am wearing kind of a coral shirt. I found this orange decorative paper. This is very old Shabby Chic. I know they re-released Shabby Chic. This is the original because I never bought the re-release. I just have the old stuff. So we have that, and we have a couple of matching title cards, journal boxes. And then I went through and I went looking for timepieces because we're time machine, right? So we're going to use these little clock-based pieces to, and there's a couple others that are somewhere in that pack of paper or pictures. Is one more. I have one more doily piece that is going to pull everything together really nicely. So, and then I found this is actually not Creative Memories. I don't know who it's by actually, but the colors were very, very close. There's some red, orange here, and the back of this is really bright red. But you can see in this, there's a blue, which is kind of this, it's not quite aqua. I forget which color this is. This might be baby blue, which I thought was a good match for everything. And it all seemed to tie in really closely. So I pulled that as well. So for embellishments, we will see that later. I'm going to use the two blue pieces as my base. So if you remember, 1, 2, 3 means you have one sheet of double-sided paper, two bases. So in this case, I'm using cardstock. You may use Creative Memories paper, Creative Memories pages that are with the jeeping on them, whatever you want to do for your bases. And we are going to make 3 cuts. And when we cut this into bits, we're going to spread this across the layout, and that's going to give us the base for our pages. So it's a fairly straightforward cut, and neither of these patterns are, it's not necessary because of the way I know I want to use this. It's not necessary to think about which way I'm cutting my chevrons. I am using the chevron piece, this bright orange. I'm using a very, very small bit of it, so it won't really matter. And if you look, if I cut it in this direction, it's almost the same as if I cut it in this direction. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to put this side up because it's going to be a little bit easier on the screen. So the first cut we are going to make on this is, we're going to start with our 2 1/2-inch pieces. Because for me, I don't like to have to pull this arm out. It works. I don't think it's as easy for me to get good cuts. So we're going to start with the small end. When I do small cuts, I generally feed it from the left to the right. 1/2 inch on the Creative Memories trimmer is this first solid line after the cutting strip. So Just line it up with there. And you can see by cutting this direction, I've got my hand here so I can have a nice solid placement. I'm going to hold that in place as I do my cut. And we get a very nice cut. I just happen to know I'm using the orange side for that. We're going to do that twice. So 2 half-inch cuts. And then we want a 2.5 inch. So for 2.5, I have to come and feed it from this end because the largest I can get on this side is 1 3/4. So we're going to go 2.5. I'm actually going to turn it around just because I want to keep, there's some wrinkling on here because it's been in my stash so long. I just want to keep all that together because it's going to get a photo on it. Okay. So you have a 2.5 inch strip. I'm sorry, 2.5 by 12, 8.5 by 12, and 2 half-inch strips. That's it. 3 cuts. We're done. We're going to have to assemble this. What you want to do is you're going to put one of we're going to put the large block right up against the left side of your layout, right up on the right edge of the left page, like this. On this side, we're going to fold the eye. And Noreen does this a lot with her sketches. One of the things I like about saving paper. But you do have to have pictures that fit this. We want to leave 4 inches. And then this is going to go right here. This strip is all going to be photos. So let me pull out some 4x4s here. Because what I'm doing, she has in the as you can see in her design, she put 2 4x6s there, and that works rather well. In my photos, though, I ended up with 4x4s. So I'm going to get 3 4x4s in that same space, like this. And then this is going to butt right up against it. So, and you're going to see that now it makes it look like you've got this really long piece of paper. And it's really just that your photos are kind of taking up, and you're not wasting paper because you're not covering up this lovely pattern with your pictures, right? And then our little 1/2-inch strips, they're just to provide a little bit of interest on either side. So it's going to go there, and the other one's going to go here, right? And then there's going to be more pictures over here. So let's go ahead and move the pictures out of the way for now, and we'll go ahead and attach our papers. So we have the big guy over here first. And this is the one I said has a little bit of curling over here. So I'm going to put a little bit extra adhesive there just to make sure it stays down. Okay. And then I'm just going to line that up with the edge. Like so. And then we have our 1/2-inch, and I'm not using a repositionable adhesive. However, 1/2 inch is the width of this, and I just want to make sure that I'm not getting it on the other side of one of those papers. Okay. So I am going to put, actually, I'm going to use adhesive on, or repositionable adhesive on these just because I want the spacing to be right. Because I can't remember what order I wanted these in, and I want to be able to go back and reposition them. Oop. There we go. And actually, there are so many pictures of us opening this time capsule and all of the funny things that we had saved from 25 years ago. There's going to be some peekaboo pockets covering some of these up as well. So, all right. So again, I'm going to take this paper, slide that right up against the photos. So, and then contrast piece. So when you're doing this layout, do look at your front and back together and make sure that you've got something that has a good contrast to you. Now, these are the same color, but you can see the pattern here is a lot darker. So you're getting a lot more of the orange on this side. But otherwise, look for maybe a red and green that there's that much contrast that you're going to see between. Okay. I'm just going to pop these off for a second. Remember, with repositionable, you just rub and it goes away. Okay. Just going to set those aside for a minute. Okay. On the sketch, then, you can see there is a place for a title up here and then journaling down here. Now, she has her journaling on little banners. Couple of different things you can think of for that, obviously, and what I'm going to do is I'm using a journal box because this one has a nice kind of overall plain tone to it. I can get a lot of writing on here. For me, I need a lot of writing. That's just going to go down here. I'm going to cover up a little bit of our paper, but not a lot. So that's going to go here. And then title. I really wanted this Moments to Remember as the title. It's a little on the big side. It's about 6 inches wide. And I don't think I need quite that much distance. So I was going to trim this down. Where did I put my trim out? I trim this down and maybe it's 6 inches. So let's see if we take half an inch off either side and we go down to 5. Maybe I'll take a half inch off the top too. There we go. The other thing I could have done was fussy cut that, but only in the mood to fussy cut. We got Moments to Remember here, so that gives me a little bit more space there. Okay, let's look at the rest of these photos. So we've got stuff falling on the floor. Okay. The plan is for 2 4x6 photos on this side. So we have us looking through some larger ones here, and then, like I said, we have the 4x4s that are going to go through here. And I think, just in terms of chronologically, it's going to look like that. So I ended up with one that was more of a 3x4. So just because there is room over here, and remember, these are your layouts, so do what you like. So I'm just going to use some of this empty space up here for one more 3x4 photo, and there's going to be an embellishment cluster here. So that's going to help draw that in. We have these 3, and I do think I want them in that order. Actually, no, I think I want Gemini in the middle, like that. And then I have 2 of these peekaboo pockets with even more photos. There's, if you're wondering what's in here, we have there's the Patriot News. That is a grocery receipt that I'm holding up there. Jim's holding up the TV guide. I didn't even know we had a TV guide back then. So, all right. So now that we like that, we're going to go ahead and put our pictures in place. So I don't see any eyeballs and comments. I do want to remind you, if you are watching this later and you do have questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment. I will see them and I'll be able to text you back or message you back. There's a journal. She keeps the spacing rather tight on these. I think I'm going to open it up just a tad more. Oh, and this is, I used to sell Prince's House, and that was my name tag, which didn't know I had lost it. So it's interesting the things you find when you open a time capsule. It was a really fun day. It was a really great event, and we're gonna move this up just a little. Um, we actually resealed the time capsule, and we will do this again at our 50th anniversary and see what we think of everything then. So sorry, all of my little clocks fell on the floor. Give me 1 second to bend them, pick them all up. Okay, so there's our stickers. Clock over here. I do feel like I'm still missing a doily. Maybe I changed my mind on the doily. But it was just that same shape, so it kind of fits in that groove there. Maybe we come down here because you want another little cluster down here. But I also have this really nice bold piece that I want to use. And so this one is cut. So we kind of only have half, and then there's this. So you want to make sure that you're layering this. This would be, maybe you have 2 clocks on top of each other, and then this goes beside something. Another clock here. And then I just love, I don't necessarily want the green. I like the orange ones. Like that love. Yeah, he's tied down. Okay. Okay, I'm kind of a stickler for where is the 12 on this? 9, 10, 11, 12. There we go. I just want the clocks to be facing up. I don't know. Just a little bit of obsessive that I have, but if you're going to put a clock on the page, please put it in the right direction. How about we put it up here? Just kind of tie that guy in. I'll remember this forever. I kind of want this guy, and maybe we'll tie him on this guy. He is going to need some repositionable, so let's get that out for him. Yeah, he's getting to the end, so sometimes I have to come in and wind it by hand to make sure that it's not sticking to itself. So they're not the best delivery devices. I'm second guessing myself on these guys because they just, at the end of their life, they just get troublesome. Okay. You fix them now. That's good work. Okay. So we're going to put him up here. Nice little bold piece here. We got these guys over here. Where's 12? There's 12. Okay, we're going in this direction. There we go. And I think that's it. So we really have 4. When you think about the visual triangle, because the title is such a big piece here, we have a little bit here, and this actually we ended up not using him. No problem. Put him in the pile to be put back. But that's it. That's one layout, and just going to point out we've been on here for 33 minutes, and we've done a card, a 2-page layout. And I've gone over all of the new stuff that's coming out on Monday for the Christmas collection. So this stuff goes really, really quickly. In fact, I know I booked this for 2 hours. We may not even get to all 2 hours. It depends on how chatty I am, I suppose. Okay, so I will do the journaling and such later, and I'll put the other pictures on. We're going to set that aside. And we're going to move on to layout number 2. That was February 2013. All right. And I meant to pop this up. Sorry. This is what happens when you're doing this for the first time in a new studio. So our next layout is for March 2013. I'm doing these in chronological order as the as they were put on the blog. I just think that'll be easier for you because you're probably looking at these and saying, "Oh, um, why do they come next?" They're not necessarily next in my scrapbook. I will figure that out once I put the pages in. But okay, so we're going to do March 2013. So really cute layout. The thing that I want to point out for this is there was no cutting picture, but it's pretty straightforward. So hopefully you'll be able to follow along with me. The layout that I'm going to do for this, and I'm going to switch back to overhead. I thought I was going to switch back to overhead. That's me. Hello. Why are you not doing this? There we go. We're going to maximize it. Okay. So for this layout, I am using a collection. I think this was a purchase with purchase thing. This is the Fun and Games collection. And it just so happened that I got this. I don't think I was actually intending to get it because I don't really do a lot of these. It's pool and cards, and the sticker sheets have things like axe throwing and dice games, which I really don't do a lot of. So, but we're going to do some pictures of scrapbooking, and you wouldn't normally think that the scrapbooking goes together with sports. Well, depends on how heavily you scrapbook. But back in 2021, I hosted a crop, and I had a challenge for all of my customers. So there had been, at some point, Creative Memories had put out these packs of playing cards, not like the ones that are coming out on Monday, but it was a true pack of playing cards. And what I did was for every guest that was there, I took all of the queens out of their packs and I gave them 4 challenges. And for each challenge that they completed, they got one of the queens back. So we called this Queen of the Crop. Some of you who are watching this later, because I still don't see any eyeballs. So if you're here, please say hello, but I'm not seeing anyone actually live. So you're mostly going to watch this. So this Marianne, hello, my friend Marianne. You can see she's holding up her card. That's one of the queens she got for making that border. So that was one of the challenges. Some of the challenges were layouts. So even my sister Lisa got her queens because she never does my challenges, or she does them under duress, I believe. I won't show you what she made for me. Anyway, that's what I wanted to do. And I have, because there was some playing card background, I thought this is what I want to use for these. And their projects had a bit of red to them, especially this one. So I thought, this might work out well. And for those of you who have been to that cropping place, the back side of this is the striped paper. And we are always looking for the striped paper that matches the curtains. Whatever reason, we always seem to find striped paper that matches the curtains of that house. This is actually not far off. So I find it amusing that will be our secondary. This is going to be the biggest part of the layout, but the highlight is going to be the stripes. So, all right, just moving some of this stuff off that I had picked. I am going to use cranberry cardstock as the base because that's going to give us some nice rich color and pick up the red from the cards here. So with this layout, it really calls for punching a border and then doing your cuts. And because your punch will have different widths, she did not want to create a layout saying this is how you will cut your paper. So she gave the measurements and I copied them and put them up there as well. So what we want to do is we are going to trim 2 borders to 1 inch wide. So I want actually this layout, because we're going to cut most of this into long strips this way. One of them is going to be this way. One of them is going to get turned, but I'm okay with that. It's probably a little bit better with an overall pattern. But the nice thing is that when I cut the stripes, I will be cutting down through the stripes. So instead of getting long stripes, I'm getting like little cuts of stripes, which is the look that I want. Instead of doing punches, though, there really wasn't a punch that I thought worked with this. I don't have a playing card punch. I want to turn to one of my decorative blades, and we're going to cut 1 inch items with this blade. And then that's going to give us that fancy edge, and we'll still see what the stripe looks like. So I think decal. I just want a little bit of something. It doesn't really have to be, a particular pattern, but I want to see a little bit of a roughened edge. When I put these in, I always have the name facing to the right, just for consistency. The pattern may switch on you depending on which way your paper is facing. In order to make sure that I am getting a 2-sided decal border, the very first thing I need to do is cut this edge with the decal border. So I'm going to sacrifice about 1/8 of an inch here. Okay. This tiny, tiny little piece is going away. And then the nice thing is we're doing 1 inch, so we can push it further out, and that's going to give us the same edge on both sides. And really with decal, it doesn't really matter. You don't have a positive and a negative of these. So that's another benefit of doing that. So there is my decal cut edge. Let's see if you can see that. And then we're going to do that one more time. So there's my 2 1-inch borders. Now, I don't necessarily want the decal edge on the other 2 strips. So we're going to take this out, switch back to my straight blade, put him underneath because otherwise I will lose it. And again, we need to sacrifice about 1/8 of an inch just to clean up the edge and get rid of the decal. Take that off. Okay. So that's where she says, cut your remaining piece of pattern paper, which is about 10 by 12 in half. So it is almost 10. I'm just going to go to the 5 and I'm going to go like 1/8 of an inch shorter. Just the other thing you could do is to make sure you're doing a true half is to fold the 2 so you get those 2 edges and then give yourself a little pinch point here. That's going to be the halfway mark. And you know what? Yeah, let's do that. Put that right on your cut line. Okay, so now I have 2 pieces of paper that are the same width. That's what we're looking for. And that's why she doesn't have a cutting guide, because based on what punch you use, the width of this is going to vary. So mine is not quite 5 inches. I'm going to guess it's 4 7/8. And not even that. It's like 4 15/16. It's really, really just shy of 5. But again, I want to use this side for the bigger pieces. Okay. So we're going to start with a stripe. And give yourself about 1/2 an inch or so in from the edge. And we're going to follow that up with one of the longer ones. I'm sliding it underneath just because that way the decal edge shows on the one side. And again, if you tried to cut this with a decal edge and tried to line those up, you would be here forever. Let's see if I can get this underneath without screwing it too much. Come on. Well, you get the idea. That looks like that. Again, this one's going to the right. And I think, as you can see, I'm okay with that. That's going to go right down at the bottom of the page, and then our stripe is going to go just over top of it like this. Okay, so that's our layout. This is again meant to hold three vertical photos straight across, because it's not as important. We're not trying to fool the eye into where the paper is going. It doesn't really matter where they go. So I have a couple of, actually, although I think I do have three, don't I? Yep. So we have our three, and actually, it's not going to take up the entire distance. So we're going to get a little bit of red above and below those. And I will likely come in and, not likely, you're going to watch me do this. I'm going to trim these just a little bit to give myself a little red in between them as well. So we have that. We have these two. The space down here for another photo is going to be taken up by a journal box. And I pulled the yellow because it actually does match the yellow that is in the kit. There's just no yellow on this page, but it's a pretty close match. That's a little bit more mustard yellow. This is actually out of my Creative Memories. Is it Scrap Happy, I think. But I wanted to pull some of that scrapbook idea in because this is more than just cards, right? And then I did find, this is not Creative Memories, but I found this Queen of the Crop. That's going to be my title, and it's going to go right there. So we'll do a little cluster here. I can do another little cluster here. That's where she had actually had the journaling, but we'll put a cluster there and we'll be good. So let's go ahead and start assembling. Let's do this guy first. So yeah, we're going to come in at about 1.5 inches here. Just coming over a tiny bit onto that. All right, and then we have our two photos that are going over here. I tend not to map my photos unless there's a specific reason. Over here, we'll map them because I have the space, and really the mat is going to be the background, so I don't know if you consider that a mat. But unless I feel like the photo is sinking into the layout, I don't really see a need for mapping. Okay, so this guy. Go straight down at the bottom. If you find when you place your papers that there's a little extra cardstock showing, do not be worried. It's not that you did your cutting wrong or anything. It is likely a little bit of overage from when they made the paper. Nothing is ever completely exact. You're going to find that there's, an 1/8 of an inch tolerance either way. So you may have to give your paper or your cardstock just a little haircut if you don't like the look of that showing on the one side. So, okay. Now these guys, as I said, I want to trim. I think we can, I know this one we can trim. Let's go 1/4 of an inch that way. 1/4 of an inch that way. I'm not going to go top. I'm going to leave them. Okay. There's the curtains. Can I get that in the picture? There you go. Do you see the curtains? Am I not right that stripe matches? I don't think I'm going to trim top to bottom. I don't need to. If I needed to, I would probably go ahead and take them down maybe 5.5 or so. Can't get as much off of this one because I don't want to trim too much of her arms, but that's all right. All right, these two are probably closest in size, and this one's the narrowest, so she's going to be in the middle. So now when I put them down, I'm going to try and get the spacing about the same, so we have that all the way around. So it's almost like they're matted. So these are Shutterfly photos, and I do have to say Shutterfly does not understand the concept of 6 inches. These are 5 and not quite. I'm sorry, 4 by not quite 6 inches. They get the 4 right. They just never get the width or the length right. So that's the other reason that there's going to be space top and bottom. I notice that every time I try to mat on a 4x6 piece of cardstock, I always have to trim that cardstock down by about 1/4 of an inch just to make sure that it doesn't look awkward. Over a little bit more. There we go. All right, and then get our journal box down here. Got my Queen of the Crop, which I am going to do with a little bit of repositionable. Are you out, or are you just fussy? You're fussy again. I'm just moving it up so I have a lot of journal. I am one of the strange scrapbookers. Most people I know complain about having to journal. I complain that I never have enough room to journal. So, okay. So what did I pull for decorations? Well, the one thing I wanted to do is I'm going to reinforce the card look. There are these borders with the heart, the 4 different, club, diamond, spade, heart. And I'm just going to put that right down the stripe. Like that. And then again, it's going to go sideways. I'm okay with that. This is one of those layouts that you could very easily, if I'd turned that paper the other way, you could very easily have turned it this way or just mirrored this side. There's a lot of things you can do with her layouts to use the same sketch and use them in a different way. And of course, just changing it from a punched piece to a decorative edged piece does a lot for how that looks. So, okay, what else did we say? Is there something? Oh, there was this thing of cards. That was why I kept this other one out. And crop till you drop. That one I think down here because otherwise it's too many cards. I have some other all in. I think we could use all in. And I think I can use this as my title. Now, it's going to blend pretty well there. So what we're going to need is a circle piece of red cardstock. Like, I'm just thinking, do I have a piece of scrap paper in here that would work? I have another piece of that stripe. I have this green. I don't like the green. I want red. All right, let me see if I have a piece of red cardstock. It's Firecracker Shimmer, but I think it'll do. And try a circle just to make sure. Yeah, I think that helps, right? And I know someone would probably tell me to No, it would help if you have adhesive on it. It sticks better that way. They would tell me to pop dot it. I am just not a pop dotter. Sorry. All right. There's our title for All In. We have Crop Till You Drop. We have our Queen of the Crop. And we could put another, I don't really have enough other cluster stuff there. If I do find something, we can fill it in there. But so that pretty much is going to finish this guy up. So hope you like that. 2 down, 2 to go. Pile some of this stuff here. Get it out of my way. And we're just at 11 o'clock, so we've got plenty of time to do 2 more. This stuff. It's going to be really fun cleaning up after this. And actually, big cleanup after this. We are getting new windows in this room. I am all for it. However, it means I have to pack up the room because I have 2 windows there and I have 1 window behind me that way. There's my desk. I have to clear the entire desk. There is a stand over here. Oh, I have someone live. Hello, whoever's live, say hello. Tell me your name. I have a stand over here full of punches. That all has to get packed up. And basically everything behind me has to get packed up because I have to move everything back there so they have access to the windows. So that is why there is not going to be one for November and maybe not December, because it will, after the windows go in at the end of this month, I am going to reorganize and redesign this place. So this desk, I'm actually getting a new desk. Well, I'm getting Jim's old desk, but this desk will go and just be for storage instead of working. My new desk is going to go right under the new windows. And yeah, it's going to be fun, but I'm going to need that time. So my apologies for doing this and not having another follow-up, but we will get to it next spring. Definitely, we will get to that. Okay, we are moving on to our, let's see, this is which layout? May of 2013. We're going to move on to May of 2013. Just to make sure that was, yeah, that's this one we can remove from studio. Okay, let me pull up the, yeah, this is the layout we're going to do. And I like this one, really good for horizontal. I have used this one a couple of times. Now, what I don't have on this are the directions, only because there really wasn't a need, in my opinion, because it's written on the cutting guide. So hopefully watching me, if you had any questions as to how this is going to go together, watching me on the cutting guide will help, help you get that figured out. So we are going to do Thanksgiving photos from 2021. I went to my father-in-law's. I actually cooked at his place. Let me switch back to, there we go. There's the overhead. So I actually cooked in the oven at my father-in-law's house. You have no idea how rare that occasion is. You have to move all the cereal boxes out of the oven before you can cook. Otherwise, you start a fire. But we had a nice Thanksgiving dinner. Jim and his dad, and then this is his sister Chris and her husband Mike. They came up. They actually didn't eat a lot because they ate at Mike's relative's house. So I am using paper from a theme pack that they had out for Thanksgiving many years ago, and I've actually had multiple theme packs because there were just a few pieces of paper and a few sticker pages that went with it. So I have a couple of everything, but yeah, I'm going to set the stickers aside for right now and the photos aside. This is the paper. The reason I like this paper is because of the wishbones on this side. Isn't that cute? It just screams Thanksgiving dinner. So, and then there's a very faint line in this paper, which is this pale yellow. And I was trying to match it to the yellow. There's a little bit more yellow in the sticker. So I was trying to match it to this yellow. And it's a little bit paler. If I do it this way, you can see this is a little darker than what that is, but it's pretty close. So these are going to be my background pages. And then this is the page we are going to cut. We are going to do 3 cuts on this, but we're going to only use the product of 2 of those cuts in order to make our layout. And then one of these is going to be kind of bonus paper or extra paper for extra cutting. So now when we do this layout, you can see everything's going to be in this horizontal position. So when I do my cuts, I want the wishbones in this horizontal position. Okay. I do not want them sitting on their sides. Probably would be okay on their sides, but I just don't want it that way. I want them this way. So I want to be conscious of how I am cutting this paper. So I'm going to cut it this way. So I have long strips with the wishbone. Okay. So it is really simple. You're going to cut this at 4 inches twice. So we cut this at 4. We cut it at 4 again. This one you can set aside. We are going to stack these 2 pieces and we're going to cut them at 6. And yes, I'm switching to my trimmer because I swear I get a better 6-inch cut on this trimmer than I do on my personal trimmer than I do on the 12-inch trimmer. So stacking them. Okay. Yes, you can do stacked both on the 12-inch trimmer and the personal trimmer. It will go through. Right. Set it at 6. And now we have, what do we have? We have 4x6s. We have 4 4x6s. So you're going to turn 2 of those over. So you're going to alternate the patterns. And you're going to line those up along the bottom of the page. So one here, one here. And this is where if you don't have a true 12-inch by 12-inch piece of cardstock, you will note that they don't touch. So, and then you're going to take that same pattern down here, and then this pattern up here to alternate it. These 4 spaces are going to be filled in with photos. That's why I love this for 4-inch photos. So we've got Mike and Chris. We've got turkey in the oven. We got turkey on the table. And then this was originally a 4x6 vertical. And I thought about putting it here and letting it stick up. And then I decided, no, the only thing at the bottom of that picture was a plate. I don't need a picture of a plate. One picture of Jim and his dad, but it leaves a little bit of a gap there. That's okay. I mean, you could just leave it there. This kit had some little cut aparts. So dinner is served is going to fill that gap. It's going to cut this off a little. Again, I'm okay with that. And it just kind of fills that page. So that is the basis of the layout. And then this other piece here, she had suggested you could put this in a Cricut and cut out letters to make a title for Thanksgiving. Now, I have obviously lots of Thanksgiving titles. And of course, we have the big old turkey here, which we're going to be using. So I didn't need to do that. One of the things that she had done was to trim it into strips. So this violates the 1, 2, 3 rule because we're going to be doing more than 3 cuts. But this is all extra anyway. So let's do a 1/2-inch strip. Right. And we'll cut it at 6. So let's bring in the So then you could alternate that and just give these a little bit of extra decoration. Right. So now you've got a little stripe going through here. You could do that twice if you liked. Certainly, I also have these pumpkin pies because it's 12 inches. I'm going to get 2 6 inches out of that. So I could layer that across. If you had 2 of these, and I really do think a border across the top would look very nice. Probably doesn't even matter which position. Let's try it with the stripe. Let's do 2 more 1/2-inch cuts. And I'm going to flip this one over to the wishbone because I don't want it to match this. We're going to alternate that. I like that too. So again, you can, add up, fill that space, titles. If you did not have a journaling box here, you could journal up here if you like. Grab the layout. Yeah, she actually used one of these spaces as a journaling box. She just put some, I think, writing paper. You probably have seen this. I think this is natural. I don't think it's Spargo. You could cut this. That's a 4x6 sheet. I could cut this to 3 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. Yeah. I might take it down even a little further than that, but that's the idea. You could layer that in, do your journaling down there. Again, we've got the stripes going. So yeah, let's go ahead and adhere some of this. Let's start with our papers. Yeah, I was gonna make this a little puzzle piece, and the pictures are gonna fit right in. Then I realized these are Shutterfly, so I'm just gonna move it down and in a little bit. I'd rather the yellow was on the outside edge than in the middle, just for me. And then we want this little wishbone guy. Come down here and decorate that. Photo in here. And again, you can see I'm going to end up with a little yellow. I'm okay with the yellow on the outside. And then, yeah, let's do this border at the top. We're going to do it in the stripe on this side. And when you do these little strips, the nice thing about that is it's going to cover some seams, and that helps to kind of seal everything in. All right, let's switch to the other side. I'm actually not going to, I think I'm going to do the journaling up here. I don't think I need him for a journal box, so we'll just put him aside. All right, so we'll start in the bottom left again. Learning from the mistakes, we'll go in this direction. Although we have that saving piece because I'm using a 4x4, not a 4x6. There we go, down near the edge. You are going on top. Then we're going to put our 4x4 in. And we can go right to the edge on that one because we're going to use this guy. as the gap filler, right? And then we're going to put our wishbones on top of that. Let's have the wishbones going in the right direction, Connie. Okay, so again, sealing that seam at the top, and then I have one more. This goes on this guy, right? So it's going to be straight face up. There we go. Cute, 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 cute. All right. You know what? Pumpkin pies. Why not? I actually can just cut this in half. Let's go between these two. I like to see when you've got circles, see how close you can get to not chopping a circle in half. So he's going to go there, and then this guy to go over here. Oh, that's right. You better go down here because he is not 6 inches. There, get rid of that. Hey, look, I used up a sticker sheet. Okay, so yes to the big old turkey. She has the title kind of going all the way across, so we're gonna put the turkey here, and then we've got some banners we can add in. You underneath there, Thanksgiving. Yeah, family. Let's go down here. Do some loaves. Maybe a couple of pumpkins over here. Gotta love stacking pumpkins, right? Like I said, that's going to be journaling over here. I will get to journaling later. So full. Yeah, they were full. I have to put that one on there. We got a quick little in the kitchen. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. I could do more banners. Pull these hearts up a second. I have 3 different patterns of banners. And they can certainly, yeah. And then when we add the hearts back on, there we go. And that makes a nice big embellishment. All right. Journaling is going to go there. Might get a little bit something else up here. We will see. I do have some stencils. Maybe I will stencil the top of that to, maybe I will learn to be okay with white space, which has always been a struggle for me. So we will see. But yeah, that is our 3rd layout. We're going to be done early today, guys. Pull this aside. I have a lot of stuff to put away. I'm going to be spending most of the afternoon just putting stuff away. Okay. Well, whoever my eyeballs were, they went away. So I don't know who you were. It was nice having you here for a second. All right, last layout. Let's see, can we get rid of you? All right, our last layout is January of 2015. And I meant to say the last one that we just did, the one that I did for Thanksgiving, the layout says it's April. when I post the link, it will say May because she had made it for April, but she hadn't gotten it onto the blog right away. So it was May until she had actually had it posted. So consider April or May. It's up to you. But yeah, we're going to do this layout, and we're moving into, this is actually going back to the scrap retreat that we did the Queens of the Crop for. Same event, different day. That was more about the scrapping. When we were there, they had, this is a house is in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. And Mechanicsburg was having, I'm sorry, let me move you and make you big. There we go. So they were having a tree lighting event in the square. Now, this is 2021. I forget what year we started going to this crop house. The very first time we went there was Black Friday weekend. They had this tree lighting. No one really wanted to go with me, so I didn't go. But I had regretted it all the years after that. 2021, we decided we were going to do Black Friday scrapbooking again. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were all scrapbooking. And again, Mechanicsburg was doing their tree lighting Friday night for Black Friday. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going this time. And my mom went with me, which I thought was really nice. But yeah, so this is the scrapbook weekend, but it is the tree lighting. So of course, we're going to use Christmas papers. So this is one of the times where I'm thinking she got distracted because we're going to be doing way more than 3 cuts on this one. Because she kind of forgot that the 12-inch page breaks in the middle. You have 2 12-inch pages. She's going to be creating these 12-inch pieces, but we're eventually going to have to cut them to 8 and 4 so that they slide across the layout. So let me show you what I mean. So again, we're doing these Christmassy papers. I'm just going to pull the photos and some of the decorations we had picked, and we're going to set those aside. Using, this is, I believe, it's not Fa La La, which Christmas. This is last year's Christmas. And I can't remember the name of it right now. I'll put it in the chat when we're done, or in the comments when we're done. But instead of cardstock, I'm actually using 2 of the decorative pieces of paper because it's all words, and it's things like fa la 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 la, joy to the world, season's greetings. But there's, it's, to me, it's the songs. When we went to this, we were singing Christmas carols as they lit the tree. And that's kind of where the theme is coming from. It's I wanted the fa la 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 la's, basically. So those are going to be my background. It is rather tonal, the white and the I don't know, what do you call that? Gray or brown, tan. It's going to give a nice base. It's not going to be too distracted because the words are so small. So I want to use this nice red paper, and I wanted to use it because it has these lights on it. Because again, this is a tree lighting. So when you look at how this is going to be laid out, these 3 photos are laying on the large piece of paper that we cut, which is, I believe it's 7 by 12. Yeah, 7 inches tall, 12 inches across. So a lot of it's going to get covered up. So what I was more interested in are the tiny strips. We're going to make a cut with 2.5, and then we're going to cut 1/2 inch off of the edge. The 2.5 inch strips are eventually going to become banners, and I'll think about how to deal with that in a bit. But I wanted these 1/2 inch strips to be the lights. So I want these lights as the banner. So that's why when I cut this, I am cutting across the stripes. Normally I would cut in this direction, but because I want to preserve, and the stripes happen to be going in the same direction, that's how we're going to be cutting it. So I'm going to be cutting it this way. And there's a piece of paper from last layout. Let's put him aside. Okay, so first cut, at 7 inches to give you a 7 by 12 inch piece. Again, I don't feel like bringing this out. 7 and 5 is 12. I'm going to cut this out. It's going to give me a 7-inch piece. All right. So that's going to be this big strip in the middle here. Okay. This piece we are then going to cut at 2.5. So essentially cutting it in half. Right. And we're going to stack those two. And we're going to cut it at a 1/2 inch. I just wanted to flip it because when I cut it at 1/2 inch, I just want to make sure. Yeah, we're just going to go a little bit bigger because I want a strip of lights right there, right? It's just slightly over. We're using what is a 2.5-inch strip. We're using those for banners. So it doesn't really matter how wide they are. What matters to me is and in fact, instead of doing it stacked as she has it, I'm doing these individually just to make sure that I am getting, yeah. Okay. There's my 1/2-inch strip, which is slightly more than a 1/2-inch strip. Right? And then this one is, where's going to be the best place to cut? Because that's a 1/2. Yeah. There we go. So these are my 2 1/2-inch strips. These are my 2 now 2-inch strips, which they're just a little under. It wasn't far. And basically those are going to be, I'm actually going to use them both in the same color because there's a larger white stripe coming down. Okay, so again, those were her 3 cuts. If you did this and you tried to make a 12-inch layout the way she has it, she has you doing this. And then our 2 banners on the side. Do you see the problem? Problem's right there. We need to cut these. We need to take 4 inches off all of them in order to make sure that they spread across 2 pages. So. The other thing you could do is you could actually lay this out that way and then bend the paper and use your scissors to trim it so that you're not worried too much. Whoops, do not cut that twice, honey. Cut once. You could use your scissors to cut it apart, but with this one being 7 inches, that's a lot of cutting and you're likely to get some tears. You go on this side, you go on this side. And I'm trying to match these up so that, even though it crosses the page, the pattern is staying together. So in fact, you go this way. Okay. So how does this look? Let's center it. Oh, sorry, this one needs to be cut for as well. And because it's stripes, I definitely want to make sure those 2 are matching. So let's center the big guy. Here. So he's 7. That's 3.5 each way. 3.5. So yeah, from 2.5 to 9.5 on the paper. Then we're gonna put these guys just above and below. I'm gonna overlap it just a tad. I can do that. Again, it helps to seal that seam. You don't have any bumpy openings. All right. Now, easiest way to do this is actually to put your papers abutted together and then just match them up side to side. And because they were covered up, I'm actually matching stripes. Again, over here. Beautiful. Okay, so we can pull these back apart. Now, these banners. So you can see here, she cut them, made the little dovetails here, and then saved that and put those over on the left in order to add a little bit more detail to the page. I don't know that I'm going to save my dovetails. I am going to dovetail these. And there's a couple of things you could do, of course. If you have this punch from Creative Memories, these are small enough to go in. They're not going to be exactly the size of the cutting. So you kind of have to eyeball if you're in the middle or not, but it does create a very nice, well, maybe I will save that. And then this guy will come in. He actually is a little closer to, well, maybe you're not 2 inches. Okay. If you do not have this, of course, pinch the ends together. Like that. Take your scissors. Do not drop them on the floor. Okay, and then cut from the fold to the points. If you do it the other way, you will get a banner with a V with a point to it, which is fine. Okay. Yeah, I will save this guy. I'm not going to save this guy. He's a little short. And then in terms of making them different lengths, the easiest thing to do is just to move them up off the page till you get them to the size you want. And I'm not going to layer them because I want to see that little bit of white. Yeah, that actually looks a little bit better if there's a little bit more white on the left, and then we have that big white there, like that. Okay, so when I do banners, I always use repositioning tape on the edges because these corners never seem to want to stay. And then I will use regular tape for the rest of it. And go back there. Okay. Same thing for this guy. Hold on, gotta tighten him up a bit. Don't worry, I will go through here and find all of the bits of repositionable tape that did not get used and use them on another layout somewhere. But we're getting close to the end. I'm just gonna fuss with it a little bit. I think it's caught in that grooves here. I have for the other one actually cut off the some of that used up side and made it smaller, and it works a lot better that way. So if you don't mind fussing with it, go for it. And you're going to be, it will overlap you just a little bit like that. All right. And then I'm just going to turn this over, cut straight across, and realize that I put the tape way too high. I always do that. So we'll come in and give it just a little adhesive at the top. And this little guy. Do we have enough repositionable left? It's the last page. Come on, make it work. He's kind of cute up there. I like that. Okay, so photos. So we have one 4x4 and one 4x6, and that is tree off, tree on. So that worked out rather well. And then I had quite a few vertical photos, and this is nice for the 3 in the vertical position, but there were too many and then too few if I use a peekaboo pocket. So what I decided to do was, this is where the journaling is going to go. So we'll took the journal. I found a 4x6 journal box with the lights on it. Can you believe it? And then this guy will go across on top here. So we had, that was, I believe he's the mayor of Mechanicsburg. We had the Red Robin, of course, had Santa Claus. We got our tree. We got me and mom. So, and then the other thing I wanted to add was, of course, the brochure that they handed out with the words on it. And so that is going to sit where she has this box for journaling over here. Since we're using a journaling box over here, it's going to sit right here. It's actually going to go over top of one of the photos. So, yeah. Maybe not. Oh, you know what I will do? Instead of using the corner, I usually put photo corners on in order to do this. Instead of putting the photo corners on to hold that, we have brochure pockets, and this guy might work. I think they come in 3 different sizes. This one would be 6x5. Oh, yes, he does. Perfect. All right, so he's going to come in like this. That can actually be on the outside of the pocket. If you're doing a pocket page or a page protector, you could do that. I'm okay just covering up a little bit of the journaling. I don't need a lot of journaling here. So I'll probably do that. And then he will sit over top here. Or maybe over top here. I don't know. One of those two. So other things that I got for decorations. Again, I wanted to reinforce that singing. So we've got Silent Night and Fa La La. I'm going to be spreading those around. Probably over here for the Fa La La, maybe Silent Night over here. And I just found a couple of tags that had little trees on them. I think I might throw one maybe down here. She had actually suggested one down here, so that might work there. And then maybe another one under here with the decorations on it. So yeah, I think that's it. I do have more stickers. I have trees and I have lights, and I didn't know if I would be needing to use these to kind of break up. Well, it's actually not a bad idea. What if we broke that up with some lights running down the middle of this? You don't have to do it on Vogue. Just like that. Yeah, that worked out better in my head. I should have cut it from the other end, but I wanted that tail. So, okay. That is kind of cute. I don't know that I need the rest of that sticker, but we'll hold on to it for a second. So, all right, let's put this baby together. So we want Santa over here. Yeah, we can do. Yes, I know. I already put the repositioning or the adhesive on. I'm going to cut it anyway. Look, there's a lot of space around Santa. He doesn't need to be 4 inches wide. I cut him down to 3.5 on this side. And yep, that's where all the adhesive was. And probably do another 1/2 inch on this side. I might want to see that. Yeah. All right, so he's actually going to be 3 inches wide. And that means I need more adhesive. That whole measure twice, cut once thing always eludes me. we go. Do our journal box. And they print their journal boxes the same on both sides, except this one has vertical for writing, this one has horizontal. So you want to make sure before you adhere. We got this guy going. And pocket. Moving him all the way over to the left as far as possible. Still going to cover up a good bit of the journaling box, but I'm okay with that. And we've got this guy over here. Angle. He's going to go on top. This is again where you might want to put everything back together to make sure you're aligning it. There we go. Yeah, that's what that block is for. Maybe I will find a not so sticker and we'll put not so silent night because we were raucous as we were singing. So. All right, that folks is my layout. So let me come back to me. Minimize you. And we'll just remove the overhead. How's that? Nope, still didn't happen. There we are. Well, if you punch enough buttons, eventually you will come back to see me. I do not know that I'm going to keep this studio because it's expensive. But I mean, it did have a lot of nice bells and whistles. I will look for something. I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know in the comments below what you thought. If you have your own layouts, please feel free to share what you've made. Just take a picture and upload it to your comment. That would be lovely. I am going to, this is being recorded. So when I am done, when it is done processing everything, it will go onto my YouTube channel. As you may know, I'm titling myself Dr. Scrapbook now. So I do have a YouTube channel. It will live over there because I cannot trust Facebook. They took down quite a few of my videos. Now I saved what I could, the good ones. There were a couple of the old Switcher Studio that I used was, with all the garbled pictures and the broken audio. But we'll find a good solution, I hope, and we'll see you again soon. I have Craptoberfest is coming up in October 25th. It is October, Connie. On October 25th at the West Hanover Rec Center, which is in Harrisburg. I do have a couple spots left. Please check the Facebook group for the details and the link to register. And if you've tried registering and you don't think it's going through and I haven't seen it, just email me or message me through Facebook and we'll get it taken care of. So hope you guys have a lovely day. I know our weather's supposed to be pretty nice here. So we finished a little early today, but hey, 4 layouts and a card and a sneak peek. I think we did pretty good on time. So have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.